Thank you for listening. This course was created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional podcasts, books, newsletters, and cool merchandise await. Let's get started. Red teaming is a structured testing approach designed to identify weaknesses in artificial intelligence systems before adversaries or real-world users can exploit them. Its purpose goes beyond standard evaluation methods, which typically focus on metrics such as accuracy or efficiency. Instead, red teaming simulates adversarial attacks and potential misuse scenarios, forcing the system to confront challenges that are often overlooked in development. By doing so, organizations gain a clearer view of how their AI might fail under pressure, whether due to prompt manipulation, data abuse, or coordinated malicious campaigns. The process strengthens system resilience by exposing blind spots that automated benchmarks alone might miss. Importantly, red teaming is not just about identifying vulnerabilities. It is about creating a structured discipline of discovery that complements traditional testing while instilling a culture of security and responsibility throughout the AI lifecycle. Safety evaluations provide the broader framework within which red teaming resides. Their scope extends beyond technical testing to include ethical, social, and governance dimensions of AI use. A safety evaluation asks whether a system may cause harm in practice, not just whether it performs according to specification. This includes assessing risks of harassment, bias, misinformation, or misuse, which can have real-world impacts far greater than a drop in accuracy. By covering technical, ethical, and social risks together, safety evaluations present a holistic picture of resilience and responsibility. They also support accountability by providing evidence for governance teams, regulators, and users that risks are actively managed. In this way, safety evaluations make AI systems not only more robust, but also more trustworthy, aligning performance with broader human values and obligations. Designing effective red team exercises requires careful planning and clarity of purpose. Objectives must be explicitly defined, whether they relate to robustness, fairness, or the detection of harmful outputs. Scenarios should be realistic, reflecting the kinds of adversarial challenges a system might face once deployed. This could involve prompt injection for generative models, manipulation of training data, or coordinated misuse campaigns designed to overwhelm safety filters. Involving diverse stakeholders in the design phase strengthens exercises, as different perspectives highlight risks that technical teams alone might overlook. Clear documentation of assumptions ensures that the scope and methods of testing are transparent and reproducible. With structured design, red team exercises move beyond improvisation, becoming systematic practices that provide reliable insights into system vulnerabilities. Adversarial testing methods form the heart of red teaming, providing concrete techniques to probe weaknesses. One common approach involves injecting harmful prompts into models to test whether safety filters can withstand manipulation. Attackers may attempt to bypass guardrails through coded language, iterative probing, or framing questions in deceptive contexts. Coordinated misuse campaigns simulate how groups of adversaries might exploit the system at scale, revealing vulnerabilities that only emerge under pressure. Continuous probing ensures that defenses are tested repeatedly, as new risks often arise after updates or retraining. These methods demonstrate that resilience cannot be assumed once achieved. It must be validated constantly in environments designed to mimic real-world hostility. By adopting adversarial testing methods, red teams provide practical, evidence-based feedback on the system's preparedness for threats. Bias and fairness evaluations are essential components of red teaming, addressing harms that extend beyond direct attacks. Targeted testing of outcomes for specific subgroups reveals whether models disproportionately fail for certain demographics. Stress testing across diverse categories, such as race, gender, age, or geography, exposes inequities in performance that might otherwise remain hidden. These inequities are not always intentional, but can arise from skewed training data or incomplete evaluation benchmarks. By identifying them early, organizations gain the opportunity to mitigate harm before it reaches users. Data-driven recommendations, such as diversifying training datasets or adjusting thresholds, transform fairness evaluations from abstract principles into actionable improvements. Including bias and fairness testing within red teaming acknowledges that adversarial risks are not limited to malicious actors, but also include systemic inequalities embedded in data and algorithms. Robustness evaluations focus on the stability and reliability of AI systems under challenging conditions. Exposure to adversarial inputs tests whether models degrade gracefully or fail catastrophically when manipulated. Adding noise to inputs or simulating shifts in data distribution reveals how models handle uncertainty and change. Monitoring for drift where performance declines as conditions evolve ensures that systems remain resilient over time. Robustness is often benchmarked against industry standards, allowing organizations to compare their systems against peers. These evaluations highlight that robustness is not a static attribute, but a dynamic quality that must be tested, measured, and improved throughout the lifecycle. By systematically evaluating robustness, red teaming strengthens confidence that models will perform reliably, not just in ideal settings, but in the unpredictable environments of real-world use. Evaluating safety features during red teaming ensures that protective mechanisms work as intended under stress. Guardrails built into generative systems must be tested for their ability to block harmful outputs without overly restricting benign use. Toxicity and content filters should be assessed for both accuracy and coverage, particularly against adversarial attempts to evade them with coded or indirect language. Human oversight controls, such as escalation paths for flagged outputs, need to be tested for responsiveness and reliability. Logging and alerting mechanisms must also be verified to confirm that incidents are captured and surfaced for investigation in real time. These evaluations transform safety features from theoretical safeguards into operationally validated defenses, showing where they succeed and where they require reinforcement. Without this step, organizations risk assuming their protections are effective without concrete evidence. Cross-functional teams are vital to the success of red teaming and safety evaluations. Security experts probe systems for vulnerabilities, applying their knowledge of adversarial tactics to challenge assumptions. Data scientists contribute by measuring fairness metrics, testing robustness, and interpreting unusual outputs in light of model behavior. Ethicists bring perspectives on societal impacts, ensuring that testing accounts for harm beyond technical failures. Governance staff track compliance with policies and regulations, embedding accountability into the process. Collaboration across these disciplines prevents red teaming from being narrowly technical, broadening its scope to encompass social, ethical, and organizational dimensions. The diversity of expertise not only enriches the quality of findings, but also strengthens trust in the results, showing that evaluations reflect a wide spectrum of concerns and responsibilities. Documentation of findings turns red team insights into actionable knowledge. Vulnerabilities must be recorded systematically, categorized by type, and prioritized based on severity and impact. Assigning remediation responsibilities ensures that identified issues are not merely acknowledged but actively addressed. Sharing lessons across teams helps organizations avoid repeating mistakes and fosters collective learning. Comprehensive documentation also provides evidence for audits, compliance reporting, and external accountability, making the evaluation process transparent and credible. Without proper documentation, red teaming risks devolving into informal exercises with limited organizational memory. By treating findings as structured data, organizations create a living archive of risks, mitigations, and outcomes that guides continuous improvement across the AI lifecycle. Mitigation planning bridges the gap between identifying vulnerabilities and addressing them effectively. For each risk uncovered, action plans must be developed that specify technical fixes, organizational processes, or policy changes. Controls may include strengthening filters, retraining models, or enhancing monitoring systems. Once implemented, remediation measures should be monitored for effectiveness, ensuring that they reduce harm without introducing new vulnerabilities. Accountability chains clarify who is responsible for remediation and how progress will be tracked. This planning phase is crucial for ensuring that red teaming does not end with problem discovery, but extends to tangible, measurable improvements in system safety. A culture of mitigation ensures that evaluations drive lasting value rather than becoming symbolic exercises. Continuous testing cycles embed red teaming into the fabric of AI development and deployment. Rather than one-off projects, evaluations should be integrated into development sprints, ensuring that new features and updates are tested before release. Post-deployment evaluations maintain vigilance as systems interact with live users and evolving threats. Automation supports this cycle by enabling repeatable, scalable testing that runs alongside other quality assurance processes. Maintaining living records of evaluations ensures that progress is tracked and that knowledge accumulates over time. Continuous cycles transform red teaming from a reactive safeguard into a proactive discipline that evolves in step with both technology and adversarial tactics. This continuity is essential for sustaining resilience in fast-moving environments. Metrics for success provide benchmarks for assessing the effectiveness of red teaming and safety evaluations. Reduction in vulnerabilities over time indicates that lessons are being learned and improvements implemented. Improved resilience across adversarial scenarios shows that defenses are adapting to a wide range of threats. Stakeholder trust, measured through surveys or external feedback, reflects confidence in evaluation processes. Alignment with regulatory benchmarks provides external validation, showing that practices meet or exceed evolving standards. Together, these metrics allow organizations to measure not just activity but impact, turning evaluations into demonstrable evidence of progress. Success in red teaming is not defined by the absence of vulnerabilities, but by the ability to detect, mitigate, and adapt to them consistently. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. A growing set of tools now supports red teaming and safety evaluations, helping organizations conduct tests more efficiently and consistently. Automated attack simulation platforms can generate adversarial prompts or perturbations at scale, revealing weaknesses that might not be detected manually. Libraries of adversarial prompts, curated by researchers and practitioners, provide ready-made test cases that target known vulnerabilities. Robustness evaluation benchmarks standardize performance comparisons, allowing teams to measure resilience against established baselines. Collaboration platforms facilitate coordination across dispersed teams, ensuring that findings are shared, documented, and acted upon. These tools reduce the reliance on ad hoc methods, making red teaming more systematic and reproducible. At the same time, they highlight the dual-use challenge. The very tools that enable defenders to test systems can also aid adversaries. Responsible use and access control are therefore integral to tool adoption. Despite their value, red teaming exercises face significant challenges. Resource intensity is perhaps the most pressing. Comprehensive evaluations require time, expertise, and financial investment that smaller organizations may struggle to afford. Coverage is another limitation, as no test suite can capture every possible adversarial tactic or misuse scenario. Balancing openness with security also poses difficulties, since sharing too much about vulnerabilities could empower malicious actors, yet secrecy risks undermining transparency and trust. Managing sensitive findings responsibly is a further challenge, requiring organizations to weigh disclosure carefully against potential exploitation. These challenges demonstrate that red teaming is not a simple checklist, but a complex practice that demands judgment, prioritization, and ongoing refinement. Addressing them directly ensures that red teaming remains practical, credible, and sustainable. Scaling safety evaluations is essential for organizations operating multiple systems or large-scale AI deployments. Standardized protocols help ensure consistency across projects, reducing variability in how evaluations are conducted. Shared repositories of test scenarios allow teams to reuse and adapt proven approaches, avoiding duplication of effort. Third-party evaluation services bring external expertise and impartiality, strengthening credibility and helping organizations meet regulatory expectations. At the enterprise level, integrating evaluations into governance systems ensures that lessons learned in one part of the organization inform practices elsewhere. Scaling also requires automation, embedding adversarial testing into pipelines so evaluations occur regularly and without excessive manual effort. By developing scalable practices, organizations ensure that safety evaluations remain robust and relevant even as AI adoption expands. Ethical implications shape how red teaming is conducted and communicated. One risk is glamorizing adversarial behavior, highlighting clever attacks in ways that encourage imitation rather than prevention. Evaluators must also ensure that stress scenarios are fair, not reinforcing stereotypes or subjecting vulnerable groups to disproportionate testing. Responsible disclosure practices balance the need to inform stakeholders with the risk of enabling misuse, requiring careful judgment about what to share and when. Ethical reflection also demands that the benefits of testing outweigh the risks, ensuring that red teaming serves users and society rather than becoming a self-justifying exercise. By embedding ethics into red teaming, organizations demonstrate that safety evaluations are not just about technical rigor but also about moral responsibility, trust, and care. Regulatory alignment is an increasingly central driver of red teaming and safety evaluations. Governments and oversight bodies are beginning to mandate formal evidence of testing for high-risk AI systems, particularly in areas like healthcare, finance, and critical infrastructure. Audits now frequently require organizations to document red teaming exercises, share findings, and demonstrate remediation. Standards for evaluation methodologies are also emerging, helping ensure consistency and comparability across organizations. These developments make clear that red teaming is no longer optional. It is becoming a regulatory expectation, and in some cases, a legal requirement. Aligning with these mandates not only ensures compliance, but also strengthens stakeholder confidence. Organizations that integrate regulatory alignment into their safety evaluations position themselves ahead of enforcement curves, building resilience and trust as part of their governance strategy. Cross-industry collaboration further amplifies the impact of red teaming and safety evaluations. Shared benchmarks allow organizations to compare results and identify areas where collective progress is needed. Partnerships with academic institutions bring fresh research perspectives and innovative methodologies into practice. Joint testing initiatives, particularly in sectors facing emerging risks, provide opportunities to pool resources and share lessons. By collaborating, organizations reduce duplication, increase efficiency, and contribute to collective resilience across the industry. This collaborative spirit reflects the reality that AI safety is not a competitive advantage to be hoarded, but a shared responsibility that benefits all. As adversaries themselves share tools and tactics, defenders must respond in kind, creating networks of knowledge and practice that outpace the threats. Organizational responsibilities in red teaming and safety evaluations extend across technical, managerial, and cultural domains. Establishing dedicated evaluation functions ensures that testing is not treated as a side task, but as a core competency with defined resources and expertise. Leadership must provide oversight of outcomes, validating that evaluations feed into governance and risk management processes. Communication of findings, both internally and externally, enhances transparency and builds trust, showing that vulnerabilities are not hidden but actively addressed. Organizations must also ensure that lessons are disseminated across teams, so improvements in one area benefit the whole enterprise. Treating red teaming as a shared organizational duty, rather than a siloed technical practice, embeds resilience into culture and strategy. This responsibility is not simply about compliance, but about stewardship of systems that shape real-world experiences and risks. Future trends in red teaming point toward greater automation and integration with continuous monitoring. Automated tools are evolving to simulate increasingly sophisticated adversarial behaviors, reducing the burden on human testers while improving coverage. Integration with continuous monitoring systems creates a feedback loop, where vulnerabilities identified in live environments feed back into evaluation exercises. Independent testing labs are also emerging, offering impartial validation and providing benchmarks that strengthen accountability across industries. Expansion into multimodal AI covering text, image, audio, and video will broaden the scope of evaluations as systems become more complex and interdependent. These trends indicate that red teaming will not remain a specialized activity, but will evolve into a routine, standardized component of AI lifecycle management. Its future is both more accessible and more essential. Practical takeaways highlight why red teaming and safety evaluations are indispensable. They strengthen AI resilience by identifying vulnerabilities that ordinary testing would miss. They extend evaluation beyond accuracy metrics, examining fairness, robustness, and potential for harm. By embedding continuous cycles of testing, organizations create lasting protection against evolving threats. Collaboration across teams, organizations, and even industries enhances coverage, ensuring that no single perspective dominates. Ultimately, red teaming turns the unknown into the knowable, surfacing risks in controlled settings before they manifest in uncontrolled environments. Practitioners should see these practices not as optional extras, but as integral safeguards that protect both technical performance and societal trust. The forward outlook suggests that red teaming will become both more widespread and more formalized. Regulatory requirements will continue to expand, obligating organizations to demonstrate resilience through structured evaluations. Industry benchmarks will multiply, creating common standards that allow for comparability across vendors and systems. Automated platforms will see broader adoption, reducing costs and improving scalability. Integration into governance systems will become standard practice, with red teaming results feeding into risk registers, compliance reports, and board-level oversight. As these trends converge, red teaming will shift from being an emerging discipline to a mature expectation, embedded into the responsible deployment of AI across all sectors. A summary of key points reinforces the essentials of this episode. Red teaming provides structured testing that simulates adversarial behavior, complementing standard evaluation methods. Safety evaluations broaden the scope to include fairness, robustness, and ethical considerations, ensuring that real-world harm potential is addressed. Designing exercises requires clear objectives, diverse input, and systematic documentation. Findings must translate into mitigation planning, continuous cycles of testing, and measurable outcomes. Tools, challenges, and ethical implications shape how evaluations are conducted, while regulatory and collaborative pressures drive adoption. Together, these elements highlight red teaming and safety evaluations as central pillars of AI governance and resilience. In conclusion, red teaming and safety evaluations are about more than probing for flaws. They are about building systems that can withstand the realities of adversarial pressure and societal scrutiny. By embedding these practices into design, deployment, and governance, organizations move from reactive defense to proactive assurance. They demonstrate accountability not just to regulators but to the users and communities affected by AI. As the field matures, red teaming will evolve into a shared language of resilience, ethics, and responsibility. Looking ahead, the focus will shift toward hallucinations and factuality, examining how models generate reliable content and how safety can be maintained when truth itself becomes the contested frontier. Thanks for tuning in to Bare Metal Cyber, your trusted source for cybersecurity educational materials, news, and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, Stay secure and stay vigilant.